Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, Washington and Lee University is under investigation by the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. We'll give you the full story.
And one local library is getting a facelift. We'll take you inside.
Hello there, I'm Reed Gady. We got a weekend of mixed weather coming our way here in Rockbridge County. Stay tuned to the Rockbridge Report and I'll break it all down for you.
And later, a closer look at the uptick in car accidents we've been seeing on Route 11 and Route 81.
That and more up next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good evening and welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Jordan Cohen.
And I'm Won-Hee Lim. Fraternities are under increasing scrutiny nationwide and right here in Lexington. And universities are also in the spotlight for sexual assault on their campuses. The U.S. Department of Education has added Washington and Lee University to its list of colleges under federal investigation for its handling of sexual assault reports. WNL President Ken Ruscio says the student filed a report to the Office of Civil Rights, saying she was discriminated against based on her sex during the school's investigation into a sexual assault report. The OCR is currently investigating a list of more than 100 colleges, and just because a college is under investigation does not mean it has violated Title IX.
Washington and Lee University has also suspended its chapter of Phi Kappa Psi fraternity for hazing violations last week. An investigation found an active member used a stun gun on a fraternity pledge and threatened others with the weapon. Phi Psi members have already left the house for the beginning of a 3-year suspension. That suspension comes only days after the University of Oklahoma suspended its chapter of Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity. The members of Oklahoma's SAE chapter were taped singing a racist song that included language about lynching and racial discrimination. These suspensions bring to the national spotlight the issues of hateful speech and violence within fraternities. Both SAE and Phi Psi have released statements expressing their zero-tolerance policies on hazing and discrimination. Yet another scandal erupted this week, this time at Penn State. Members of Kappa Delta Rho fraternity chapter are now under criminal investigation for allegedly maintaining a private Facebook page that featured pictures of nude, often unconscious women. Back in Virginia, students are speaking out about police brutality. University of Virginia students rallied last night in support of a student who was beaten to the ground outside of an ABC store. CNN's Jaretta Patterson has the story.
Just as the sun was going down Wednesday evening, UVA students by the dozen showing up to stand in solidarity for one of their own.
To suffer with and alongside, Lord, instead of having a simple answer.
To better understand why the dozens, then hundreds of UVA students prayed before walking and eventually packing into this ballroom, you have to go back to the wee hours of Wednesday morning.
For his face to literally be bashed in by concrete, there's no words to describe that.
Perhaps the words are hard to form, but students say these pictures and videos say a lot.
His face continued to be smashed into pavement.
The he is third-year UVA student Martise Johnson, who is being arrested Wednesday morning by Virginia Alcoholic Beverage Control agents just outside this pub. Johnson was left bloodied and needed 10 stitches to close his wound, a wound that cuts deep for UVA president Dr. TERESA Sullivan.
I felt it in my stomach. I just seeing the blood run down that young man's face. You know, I wanted to know what happened.
So much so, Dr. Sullivan personally called Governor Terry McAuliffe.
I'm glad he responded.
Launching an investigation to determine whether excessive force was used. Meanwhile, these students with Martise Johnson in attendance poured into UVA's amphitheater with high hopes.
I hope we do something that's going to actually force people to change.
And that desire for change is center stage.
Injustice of any kind is an issue for all of UVA.
As students rally behind one of their own.
Governor Terry McAuliffe has ordered an investigation of Johnson's arrest.
The Comcast Customer Service Center on Sycamore Avenue in Buena Vista is closing tomorrow. Customers who need to make payments, exchange Comcast equipment, or need other personal assistance can travel to the next closest service center on Augusta Street in Staunton. The Stanton location is open Monday through Friday, but closed Saturday and Sunday. Comcast remains a cable, internet, and telephone service provider in the Rockbridge area. 9 people have been arrested in connection with the attack in Tunisia that left at least 23 people dead yesterday. Most of the victims were foreign tourists. Among those killed, 3 were Italian. Italy's president is speaking out on the event.
What happened yesterday in Tunisia is very sorrowful and also very alarming, and it shows that ISIS is a very serious danger which has to be tackled urgently because we don't have much time. It is truly disconcerting to see claims of heroism for the act of shooting on defenseless people. This seems to me to be the highest level of barbarity there can be. ISIS, like all fundamentalist terrorism, is the new, true danger for civilization and democracy and human rights. It is no coincidence that yesterday in Tunis, Parliament and a museum were attacked. Democracy and culture.
Tunisian officials say they have still not established a link between any known terrorist group and either of the gunmen. When we come back, what locality is in the process of repairing its regional library?
Also coming up, was it all just the snow? What's behind the recent increase in car accidents in the Rockbridge area?
And later, an upsetting Thursday as March Madness begins.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Smokey. Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Welcome back. A 6-figure renovation of the Buena Vista Public Library is nearing completion. Raymond Monastersky is back from one of the more popular libraries in Rockbridge.
The Buena Vista Public Library building dates back to the city's beginnings in the 1890s, but accelerated deterioration of the building has led to roof and masonry damage. Broadway, Virginia-based Lance Construction has been working on the project since before Christmas.
It was in worse shape than they thought.
There has been extensive water damage on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the building, but Buena Vista Library branch manager Elena Scovira said the library has stayed open during the construction. The library is the busiest small branch in the Rockbridge Regional Library system.
There were months in the past year that we would get over 2,000 people come through the door in a month. So that's a lot of people for a small little space like this.
The library is only in the 1st floor of the building, and the city would need to install an elevator if the library were to expand to the upper 2 floors.
It would be nice if we could expand up and give the people of Buena Vista more.
Scovira said the library has received fewer visitors recently due to the renovations and the bad winter weather. But the construction hasn't affected Buena Vista resident Danny Rutherford.
It's just a real nice place to come and sit and read the newspaper.
Rutherford has been to the library almost every day for 20 years. He said he hopes the building's renovation is a sign that the library will stay in Buena Vista.
The library's changed over the years. You know, it used to be real hush-hush and quiet and everything. Now, You got computers, you got movies, you got CDs.
The city has allocated $200,000 for the project, and city manager Jay Scudder said he hopes the city will be able to renovate the inside of the building as long as the city's finances remain intact. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Raymond Monastersky.
After damage and weather delays, construction has started on the last side of the building. The library remains open for normal hours.
City officials say Lexington's economy should see an improvement in the future as Washington and Lee University brings its third-year students back to living on campus. They hope to offer a safer environment for students by increasing nightlife opportunities on the weekends in downtown Lexington. Officials are working on policies that will attract student-friendly businesses to the city. Check out rockbridgereport.washingtonandlee.net for details on downtown possibilities.
The Rockbridge area has seen an uptick in car accidents this past several weeks. Jordan Missel found snow and other factors behind the increase.
The Rockbridge region is home to one of the major roads in the country, Interstate 81. That means heavy traffic through the area. Since the beginning of February, there have been a larger number of car accidents compared to previous years. From February 1st through March 16th, there have been 75 crashes in the Rockbridge County region. Out of those crashes, 30 have involved injury. During the same time period in 2014, there were only 44 crashes and 17 injuries. One accident received a lot of attention when Rockbridge County Deputy Mark Embry was in his car pulling someone over when he got hit by a truck. Sheriff Chris Blaylock explained what happened.
And it was a tractor trailer who was attempting, we believe, to move over to the left side to avoid where the traffic stop was. And as he moved over to the left side, I guess he noticed a vehicle in his path. So when he came back over, he oversteered and then had to overcorrect, which he lost control of his tractor trailer. And as it passed the deputy's car, the trailer was rolling over, and the top corner of the trailer actually caught the sheriff's car.
The state police is responsible for handling all accidents outside the city limits. Sergeant Timothy Knight.
We've had multiple snowstorms. With those snowstorms have came advisories from the Department of Transportation and from us, the please only drive if necessary. And you know, I guess those are frustrating situations with us when we go out and we're working accidents because it's people that are, you know, venturing out into the roads when they're still not clear.
22 crashes and 6 of the injuries occurred during snow. Even though nothing can be done about the weather, 50 accidents have still occurred with no adverse conditions, compared to 32 a year ago. Virginia Department of Transportation has tried to make some safety changes to help fix the problem. Susan Hammond of VDOT said some of them include making the lane strips more reflective and changing signing to certain fonts that are more easily readable. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Jordan Missel.
Benjamin Netanyahu will keep his position as Israeli Prime Minister after a major election victory this week. CNN's Mary Maloney has the story.
In a stunning turnaround, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declares victory.
Against all odds, we've achieved this huge victory.
Shortly before the election, Netanyahu made a major push, pledging that no Palestinian state would be established as long as he kept his office.
The right regime is in danger. The Arab voters are coming in huge amounts to the polls.
That warning troubled Palestinians pushing for peace.
This election is about racism and the racism that they've been facing as citizens of the State of Israel. And it's also about the continued occupation and denial of freedom to Palestinians in the West Bank and in the Gaza Strip.
Millions of Israelis cast ballots, and according to earlier exit polls, Bibi was behind.
It was not anticipated, but Israelis are notorious for telling the truth to pollsters and then lying at the polls.
Official results aren't expected until next week, and the process of coalition building could take much longer. The next prime minister will have a lot on his plate: Israeli security concerns, the continued push for creation of a Palestinian state, the country's soaring cost of living, plus ongoing nuclear talks with Iran, in which Israel has a vested interest, not to mention Israel's strained relationship with America. It's a long road ahead for whomever is in charge. I'm Mary Maloney, reporting.
The White House on Wednesday responded to Netanyahu's victory with fresh criticism. President Obama is emphasizing that a new rift has opened between U.S. and Israeli leaders, this time over Palestinian statehood.
After we return, both rain and sun are both in the forecast. We'll have your weekend forecast. Teaming up with schools in Rockbridge County, Lexington, and Buena Vista to make dental care more accessible for low-income children. Dr. Aaron Farbar-Castley, the health center's full-time dentist, is tackling dental problems among Rockbridge County's uninsured. Many students in the county had never seen a dentist before. The health center launched its school program in the fall of 2013. Now in its second year, the program has begun its weekly spring visits on Tuesday at Fairfield Elementary. On March 24th, it will go to Enderley Heights Elementary in Buena Vista. The program is called HORSES, which stands for Health Oral Care Reduction in Cavities, School-Based Setting Evaluations, and Sealments.
After we return, rain and sun are both on the way. We'll have your weekend forecast. And what's now an area for first-year housing will soon be transformed into a park on Washington and Lee's campus. We'll give you the latest on the landscape plans.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books.
No more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Welcome back. Washington and Lee University will build a green space around first-year residence halls this summer. The green space is part of a large-scale master plan by the university to renovate several campus buildings and to build third-year housing community. The City Council approved that plan last fall. However, City Council will meet on April 2nd to make sure the plan complies with city design standards. University officials say demolitions and groundwork should be complete by the fall. Plants and grass will be installed in the space throughout the end of the calendar year. Now let's turn to Reed Gady with our weather forecast.
Thanks, Jordan. See, this weekend's looking pretty expectable as far as the weather is concerned, but there are some tidbits of information that I think our viewers might like to know. So with that, let's get back into it. So, as you can see for our almanac for today, we have a high of 50 degrees and a low of 37 degrees, which is, seasonably speaking, to be expected. We also have a wind speed of 6 miles per hour right now, which is not really going to detract or add that much to the temperature, so nothing to worry about there. Humidity right here is probably the thing that stands out the most, because if you remember the last couple of days, it was actually kind of sticky, kind of yucky at times, but you'll see now that because of the lower temperatures, humidity has decreased and things have gotten a little bit more comfortable. Let's take a look at our regional conditions right now. So as you can see, it's pretty uniform in general as far as weather is concerned with the Rockbridge area. There's some form of cloud cover for all of our surveyed locations. What you'll also notice is that you have some temperature uniformity in Charlottesville, Buena Vista, and Lexington, all at around 50 degrees right now, with areas around deviating by maybe a couple degrees Fahrenheit. The exceptions to those exceptions, though, are Roanoke and Covington, with Covington being at a nice chill 35 degrees right now. But that can be attributed to its higher altitude. So we don't have to worry about that right now in central Rockbridge County. Let's take a look at our national weather radar right now. And you can see that we have quite the storm system moving through right now that's going towards the Atlantic Ocean. As you can see, there's at least a little bit of cloud cover in all these spaces, completely covering West Virginia even. And you can see that there's going to be a little bit of rain, as well as some heavy rain, coming through our area. Now, moving on to our 5-day forecast, there's nothing much left to say about Thursday. We covered that pretty effectively. Although we should say that for tonight, there is a 100% chance of precipitation and even a slight chance of snow. However, accumulation is not very likely, and if it does accumulate, it's going to be almost non-existent, so nothing to worry about there. However, when you're looking at Friday, you'll see that the rain that was in the Roanoke and the Covington area is going to grace us with its presence, along with some slightly lower temperatures, but really not too low compared to what they were. Saturday is when the weather really changes. That's when the sun comes out, the weather becomes nice again, temperatures go up to the 60s. So if it dries out enough from Friday's rain, it'd be a great day to go outside. Sunday is when the clouds start to come back in, and you can see that the temperatures pretty much stay the same. However, Monday is when we go full circle. As you can see, we started out on Thursday with some cloud cover and lower temperatures. Monday, we're going to end with that. That's your weekend update for you. Back to you, Won-hee.
Sounds like we're in for a nice weekend. Thanks, Reed.
Lexington is still buzzing after Washington and Lee University put on its own version of Monty Python's Spamalot. The show ran from Thursday to Sunday, and the cast enjoyed a nearly sold-out Keller Theater each night. The show had a cast of 22, which is considered large for W&L's theater. Turner Meeks, a senior at W&L, was the show's lead. Prior to Spamalot, Meeks had never participated in a production of any kind. It was also the first W&L production for the show's director, Jimma Levy. Levy began working this past fall as a professor in W&L's theater department. She also runs a theater company in Chicago.
When we come back, we'll take a look at your local sports teams.
And what local school is taking up gardening to teach sustainability?
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again, it's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Welcome back. Spring sports are in full swing, and Maggie Volsky is here with the latest for us. How are our local teams looking, Maggie?
Well, Jordan, local college baseball has seen a difficult losing streak this week. VMI lost to Old Dominion in a close game ending 7-6 when the Monarchs broke a 6-6 tie in the 8th inning to leave the Keydets with a season record of 4-8. W&L fell yesterday to Stevenson 4-1, bringing their season to 3-5. VMI baseball is in action again tomorrow when they travel to Wofford to play at 6 p.m. The Generals play away at Guilford on Saturday. For lacrosse, W&L men defeated Swanee yesterday with a 7-2 victory and will host Bridgewater at 1 p.m. on Saturday. The women's team beat Shenandoah on the road yesterday 9-6. They are traveling to Lynchburg for a 7 p.m. game on Saturday night. VMI hopes to turn around their 0-8 season as it travels to Louisville, Kentucky to face Bellarmine on Saturday. SVU's men's lacrosse team edged a victory 11-0 against SUNY Kobleski on Tuesday. The Lady Knights lacrosse team hopes to turn their losing streak around on Saturday when they play against Salisbury at 3 p.m. In high school sports news, Rockbridge County High School beat rival Perry McClure High School in boys varsity soccer on Monday. The Wildcats won with a blowout, finishing the game with a score of 8-0. Tonight, the Blues seek revenge as the JV and varsity softball and baseball teams travel to RCHS to start at 5 p.m. They will compete against RCHS boys and girls varsity tennis on Monday. It's also March Madness, which means plenty of people will go to extreme measures to watch the NCAA tournament during the day. But rather than treating it as a distraction, many places are embracing the tournament as part of the workplace. Companies across the U.S. will stream games into conference centers or offer bracketology classes, not only openly allowing employees to watch the games at work, but encouraging it. Some experts say it works the same way as a vacation. There's a short-term loss of productivity, but long-term gain. They say it's also good for the bottom line and that when employees feel connected to the people around them, they work harder and give better results.
Thanks for the update, Maggie. Campus and community gardens are getting more popular around the nation. This year, Central Elementary is joining the movement by creating a campus garden with help from local volunteers. Rockbridge Report's own CALEIGH Wells has the story.
Central Elementary Principal Ryan Barber has wanted to build a campus garden for years. And starting last summer, the school began planning to finally make that happen.
We were the only school, the elementary school in the county that didn't have one. So it was time for us, but a school of this size, it was time.
TERESA TORRENCE teaches 4th grade math and science at Central Elementary. The school is working closely with Boxerwood Nature Center, which educates the community, especially children, about the outdoors.
A lot of good learning happens outdoors as well as inside. And this was a way to enhance what's already happening in the classroom and just take the learning outside.
Boxerwood Nature Center Education Director Elise Sheffield says Torrance divided the project into phases. Volunteers have to build the fence, install the beds, and put the dirt in before students can start planting.
They can do some research in order to buy into, this is why it's good to plant lettuce in April or peas in early, because they can handle it.
Volunteers from W&L, VMI, and the Rockbridge area community have helped to put the campus garden together. Sheffield says the national movement to go green teaches kids to learn as whole beings, with their bodies and not just their heads.
We do education in a way where kids feel that they are problem solvers from very young age and that they are a gift to the planet by their creativity and their problem solving and their vision of how to live a more healthier world.
In addition to Boxerwood Nature Center's help, Lowe's Home Improvement has helped financially with supplies. The school hopes to have the garden finished by the end of the school year so that students can start planting. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm CALEIGH Wells.
That's all for this week's edition of the Rockbridge Report. For more information, check out rockbridgereport.washingtonelite.net. And don't forget to stay tuned for an interview with our very own Leslie Avac, who will be sitting down with County Board of Supervisor member Rusty Ford.
Thanks for tuning in and have a great evening.